It was great, and we kind of grew together. He did have that music right here and right here.
It was something special, something rare, the kind of journey where an artist and the audience grow together through music, emotion, and time. Among the many brilliant female voices to rise in the late 1960s and early 70s, one voice stood apart, rich with soul, strength, and feeling. Let's move through the life and legacy of Gladys Knight, a woman whose music helped define generations and whose personal journey showed resilience beyond the stage. Often called the Empress of Soul, Gladys Maria Knight was born on May 28, 1944, in Atlanta, Georgia. From the moment her voice first reached the world, American music was never the same. She wasn't just a singer, she was a storyteller, a performer, a businesswoman, and a cultural force whose influence continues to echo through decades of sound and spirit. Her journey began early. As a child, she sang in church choirs, where her extraordinary talent quickly became impossible to ignore. By the age of 8, she had already captured national attention after winning a major television talent competition, a moment that quietly hinted at the destiny ahead. Not long after, a simple family gathering turned into history when an impromptu performance led to the creation of Gladys Knight and the Pips, a group formed alongside her brother Merrill Bubba Knight, cousins William Guest and Edward Patton, and later other members who helped shape their signature harmony. The group's name came from a family nickname, and their rise was built on dedication, countless performances, and an unshakable bond. They competed in talent shows across Atlanta, winning again and again, refining their sound until the music industry began to take notice. Their early years weren't easy, but every challenge strengthened their resolve. As their career developed, Gladys also faced major responsibilities in her personal life. She married young and became a mother while still finding her place in music. At times, she stepped away from touring to focus on family, allowing the Pips to continue performing while she handled life behind the scenes. This balance between career and family would become a recurring theme throughout her life. Eventually, the group relocated to Detroit, where new opportunities emerged. They signed recording deals, navigated industry setbacks, and kept pushing forward even when early releases didn't chart as hoped. Supporting legendary performers on tour helped sharpen their stage presence, and over time, their sound matured into something unmistakable. A major turning point came when the group recorded Every Beat of My Heart, a song that finally brought widespread recognition. Despite business complications, the record climbed the charts, and almost overnight, Gladys Knight and the Pips became a household name. More hits followed, and by the mid-1960s, they were on a powerful upward trajectory. Joining Motown Records marked another shift. While they initially faced challenges within the label, their talent couldn't be contained. Audiences responded deeply to Gladys's authenticity and emotional delivery. Eventually, seeking greater creative freedom, they moved on to a new label, a decision that proved transformative. The 1970s became their golden era. Songs like Midnight Train to Georgia, I've Got to Use My Imagination, and Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me captured hearts worldwide. Their harmonies were flawless, their stories relatable, and their performances unforgettable. These recordings topped charts, earned awards, and cemented their place in music history. Behind the success, Gladys continued navigating life's personal challenges, including multiple marriages, motherhood, and moments of deep emotional hardship. Through it all, she leaned on faith, family, and music. Her spiritual journey evolved over time, eventually leading her to embrace a new religious path that brought renewed purpose and community involvement. In the late 70s and 80s, Gladys Knight and the Pips continued to innovate, releasing albums that blended soul, rhythm, and contemporary sounds. They embraced new musical styles, even becoming early adopters of visual storytelling through music videos. Their influence remained strong, earning them more chart-topping songs and industry recognition. Eventually, Gladys stepped into a new chapter as a solo artist, bringing the same passion and power that defined her group work. Her solo releases were met with critical and commercial success, proving that her voice alone could carry generations. She continued collaborating with iconic artists, performing at major cultural events, and lending her voice to causes close to her heart. Her versatility shined as she recorded film theme songs, performed at historic ceremonies, and appeared on some of the world's biggest stages. Honors followed, including Grammy Awards, Hall of Fame inductions, and recognition from cultural institutions celebrating her contributions to American music and heritage. Even beyond music, Gladys Knight remained deeply connected to community work, charity events, and mentorship. Whether supporting education initiatives, performing at benefit concerts, or simply inspiring others through her story, her influence extended far beyond the microphone. Decades into her career, she continued recording new music, adapting her sound while staying true to the emotion that made her voice timeless. Her later albums proved that artistry has no expiration date, and her presence in popular culture remained strong. From a gifted child singer to a global icon, Gladys Knight's journey is one of perseverance, grace, and enduring talent. She faced challenges without letting them define her, and she transformed life's ups and downs into music that speaks directly to the heart. Her legacy lives on not only through awards and chart positions, but through the millions of listeners who found comfort, joy, and truth in her songs. Even today, her voice reminds us of the power of authenticity, resilience, and soul. What do you think about the incredible journey Gladys Knight has lived, both on and off the stage? If her story inspired you, let your thoughts be heard. And if you'd like to experience more stories like this, show your support and keep the music playing. As time moved forward, Gladys Knight continued to prove that longevity in music is not about chasing trends, but about remaining true to your voice, your values, and your purpose. While many artists from her era slowly stepped away from the spotlight, Gladys stayed connected to her audience, not by reinventing herself dramatically, but by refining what she had always done best. Her voice matured, deepened, and carried with it the weight of experience, joy, hardship, faith, and resilience, making every performance feel personal and timeless. Entering the later chapters of her career, Gladys Knight became more than just a performer. She became a living symbol of musical history, a bridge between generations, and a reminder of what authenticity sounds like. Audiences who had grown up listening to her music now brought their children and grandchildren to see her live, creating shared moments that felt almost sacred. Each performance was not just a concert, but a journey through decades of sound and memory. During this period, she continued to appear on major stages around the world, delivering performances that were both powerful and deeply emotional. Even as musical landscapes shifted and new styles dominated the charts, her presence remained undeniable. There was something grounding about her voice, something that reminded people of sincerity, storytelling, and soul in its purest form. She did not need spectacle or excess. Her voice alone was enough. Gladys also became increasingly involved in charitable and community-focused work. She understood the influence she carried and chose to use it with intention. Whether participating in benefit concerts, supporting educational initiatives, or lending her name to causes that uplifted underserved communities, she consistently demonstrated that success means little if it is not shared. Her philanthropy was never performative. It was rooted in gratitude and responsibility. Family remained a central pillar of her life. As her family expanded, she embraced her role as a matriarch with pride and humility. She often spoke about how family gave her perspective, reminding her of what truly mattered beyond applause and awards. Despite the demands of her career, she made space for love, connection, and reflection, understanding that balance was essential for peace. Spiritually, Gladys Knight continued to grow and evolve. Her faith played an increasingly important role in her life, guiding her decisions and shaping her outlook. This spiritual grounding brought a sense of calm and purpose that was evident both on and off the stage. It allowed her to face challenges with grace and to approach success with humility. Musically, her later recordings reflected a woman fully comfortable in her identity. These projects did not attempt to mimic younger artists or modern trends. Instead, they leaned into her strengths, rich vocals, thoughtful lyrics, and emotional delivery, Critics and fans alike praised her ability to remain relevant without compromising her authenticity. Her albums resonated because they felt honest, mature, and deeply human. Live performances during this era were particularly special. There was a warmth and intimacy to her shows that made audiences feel seen and appreciated. She spoke to fans, shared stories, and expressed gratitude in a way that felt genuine. Even after decades in the industry, she approached each performance with humility, treating it as a privilege rather than an obligation. Recognition continued to follow her, but by this point, awards felt secondary to legacy. Lifetime achievement honors, cultural acknowledgments, and prestigious ceremonies celebrated not only her musical accomplishments, but her influence on American culture as a whole. Being honored by institutions that recognized artistic excellence affirmed what fans had known for years. Gladys Knight was not just a singer, she was a cultural treasure. One of the most meaningful acknowledgments of her career came with the Kennedy Center Honors, an award that celebrates artists who have made a lasting impact on American culture. This recognition placed her among the most respected figures in the arts, a testament to decades of dedication, innovation, and emotional honesty. Moments like this were not just personal milestones, but collective celebrations of a shared musical heritage. Even as she entered her 70s and beyond, Gladys Knight continued to tour, astonishing audiences with her stamina and vocal strength. Her performances were filled with joy, laughter, and an infectious energy that defied expectations. She did not perform as someone looking back on the past, but as someone still fully present, still passionate, still connected. Her ability to adapt while staying true to herself became one of her greatest strengths. She understood that music is a living, breathing art form, and she respected its evolution without abandoning its roots. This balance allowed her to connect with younger audiences who discovered her music through films, television, and streaming platforms, ensuring that her voice reached new ears. Throughout her later career, Gladys Knight often reflected on gratitude. She expressed appreciation for her fans, her collaborators, and the opportunities she had been given. This gratitude shaped her interactions and reinforced her reputation as not only a legendary performer, but a kind and grounded human being. In an industry often defined by ego, her humility stood out. Her story became a source of inspiration for aspiring artists, particularly women who saw in her a model of strength, perseverance, and independence. She demonstrated that it is possible to navigate a demanding industry, raise a family, face personal challenges, and still emerge with integrity intact. Her journey offered hope and guidance without ever needing to be instructional. As the years continued, Gladys Knight's music remained present in popular culture. Her songs were featured in films, commercials, television shows, and tribute performances, each time reminding audiences of their emotional power. These moments reinforced the timeless nature of her work and its ability to resonate across contexts and generations. Her influence extended beyond music into fashion, performance style, and storytelling. Artists across genres cited her as an inspiration, acknowledging the emotional depth and sincerity she brought to every note. Her ability to convey feeling without excess became a benchmark for expressive singing. Despite her global recognition, Gladys Knight never lost her sense of approachability. She often spoke about her upbringing, her family, and her faith with honesty, allowing fans to connect with her not just as a performer, but as a person. This openness strengthened the bond between her and her audience, creating loyalty that spanned decades. In later interviews, she reflected on her career with clarity and wisdom. She spoke openly about lessons learned, moments of growth, and the importance of resilience. These reflections were not filled with regret, but with understanding, illustrating a life lived fully, with both triumphs and trials shaping the whole. Her continued involvement in music was never about staying relevant for relevance's sake. It was about expression, connection, and purpose. She sang because she had something to say, and people continued to listen because what she said mattered. This mutual respect between artist and audience became one of the defining features of her legacy. As a performer, Gladys Knight mastered the art of emotional balance. She could deliver joy, sorrow, hope, and reflection within a single set, guiding audiences through a wide range of feelings without overwhelming them. This emotional intelligence set her apart and made her performances unforgettable. Her legacy also lives on through her family, many of whom have pursued creative and professional paths influenced by her example. She emphasized the importance of education, discipline, and self-respect, values that extended beyond music and into everyday life. In this way, her impact reached far beyond the stage. As the music industry continued to evolve rapidly, Gladys Knight remained a steady presence, reminding listeners of the power of melody, harmony, and honest storytelling. In a world of constant noise, her voice offered clarity. In moments of uncertainty, her songs offered comfort. Her life's work stands as proof that true success is not measured solely by charts or trophies, but by connection, influence, and longevity. Few artists can claim a career that spans generations while maintaining respect, relevance, and authenticity. Gladys Knight is one of those rare figures. Even now, her music continues to inspire reflection, celebration, and emotional release. It plays at family gatherings, quiet evenings, milestone moments, and personal reflections. It accompanies life in all its phases, which is perhaps the greatest achievement any artist can hope for. Gladys Knight's journey reminds us that greatness is built over time, shaped by perseverance, humility, and heart. She did not rush her legacy. She earned it note by note, performance by performance, year by year. Her story is not just about music, but about resilience, faith, family, and purpose. It shows that even through life's challenges, it is possible to remain grounded, generous, and committed to one's craft. As listeners, we are fortunate to have witnessed her journey, to have grown alongside her music, and to continue finding meaning in her voice. Gladys Knight did more than sing songs. She gave voice to emotions we all share. And as her legacy continues to unfold, one thing remains clear. Her voice will always be there, echoing through time, reminding us of the beauty of soul, the power of perseverance, and the enduring magic of music.